My daughter once said, "Dad, if you just disappeared, that would be the greatest gift of all." It sounded like a bad joke. But there was no laughter, only the hum of the old heater and the soft creak of her chair as she looked away. 2 weeks later, the insurance company called. "Mr. Tran?" The woman's voice was polite, careful. "We're sorry for your loss." I frowned. "Loss?" She hesitated. "You're passing, sir. According to our records, you've been declared deceased." For a moment I thought it was some clerical error, but when the line went dead, a strange silence filled the room, thick and heavy, like snow that refuses to melt. My name is Michael Tran, 66 years old, a retired civil engineer who still believes that family is the only investment that never loses value. I paid off my daughter's student loans, cleared my son-in-law's mortgage, even kept the old family home standing through decades of winters. But lately I've begun to wonder, did I build a home or did I build a cage for myself? I know this might sound like another family drama, but it isn't just that. It's a story about how trust turns into currency, and how love, when twisted by greed, can become a weapon sharper than any blade. Before we move forward, please subscribe to the channel and share in the comments what time it is where you are right now. Because what you're about to hear might make you question the people sitting right beside you. That day, when the insurance woman told me I was dead, something inside me cracked open. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't angry. I was curious. If I was dead to them, then who exactly had killed me? And as I stood there, staring at the fading light through the window of our Glen Ridge living room, one question echoed quietly. I'm still breathing, but have I already vanished in their hearts? My name is Michael Tran, and I spent 40 years building homes that could outlast storms. Iron beams, steady walls, roofs that could hold through hot winter after winter. Funny how I could design something so solid, yet fail to build the same foundation inside my own family. After I retired from Glen Ridge Construction, I thought peace would finally find me. I had a small pension, a modest house, and savings close to $410,000. Enough, I believed, to give my daughter Fern and her husband Vernon the comfort I never had. When Fern struggled with the last of her student debt and Vernon's business began to sink, I didn't hesitate. I cleared their loans, paid off the mortgage, even helped renovate their kitchen so they wouldn't have to worry about leaks or broken cabinets. I remember telling myself, love can pay off any debt, but I've learned something since. Some debts can't be measured in dollars, and some kindness leaves you poorer than before. One evening, Fern came over with a box of groceries. She placed them on the counter without meeting my eyes. "Dad, you didn't have to do that," she said quietly. "Vernon and I would have managed somehow." I smiled, tired but sincere. "I just want you to live lightly, sweetheart." She paused, her voice almost a whisper. "Lightly, meaning with no one left to worry about, right?" The words stung more than I expected. Maybe it was her tone, or maybe it was the truth behind it. I wanted to believe my help came from love, but in that silence between us, something shifted. A small, almost invisible crack opened, like the first fracture in a frozen lake. And I didn't realize it then, but the more I gave, the more I was feeding something else entirely. Something colder. Something that had been growing behind her gentle smile all along. I didn't see it, but my kindness was nourishing their calculation. The envelope came on a Tuesday morning, thin and ordinary, resting quietly on the welcome mat. The logo read Blue Meadow Life Insurance, a company I hadn't heard from in years. I almost tossed it aside with the rest of the mail until I saw the first line inside. "We extend our condolences for the loss of Mr. Michael Tran." For a moment I thought it was a mistake, a clerical error. I was, after all, standing right there in my kitchen, alive, with coffee steaming in my hand. But the letter went on to confirm that my policy had been successfully processed. Processed, past tense. I called the company, heart pounding harder with each ring. A woman answered politely, her voice calm and detached. "This is Michael Tran," I said. "I just received a notice stating I'm deceased." "That's obviously not true." She hesitated. Papers rustled. "Sir, can you confirm your policy number?" I read it aloud, my hands trembling slightly. She typed for a moment, then spoke again, her tone shifting from professional to cautious. "Yes, Mr. Tran. That policy was indeed under your name. It appears to have been updated recently. The beneficiaries are now listed as Fern Tran and Vernon Blake." My chest tightened. "Updated? By whom?" "By the authorized signer. The form has your signature, sir." "That's impossible. I never signed anything." Another pause. The submission was accompanied by a certified death certificate issued last week. I stood there, frozen. The hum of the refrigerator was suddenly the loudest sound in the room. A death certificate, with my name. I ended the call slowly, almost gently, as if afraid to wake something sleeping. I stared at the letter again, tracing the printed words with my finger. The ink was so clean, so certain. Some people are killed by bullets, by knives, by accidents on the road. But me? They were killing me with paperwork, with a signature I never made. They didn't need a gun, just a pen. The kitchen glowed in that gentle amber light that once made our house feel safe. I used to love the quiet hum of the refrigerator, the smell of roasted chicken, the sound of Fern laughing as she set the table. But that night, everything familiar felt distant, like a memory I couldn't step back into. I placed the envelope from Blue Meadow Life on the table between us. The papers were neatly stacked, almost innocent-looking. "Fern," I began softly, "what did you and Vernon do with your mother's insurance policy?" She froze for a moment, her hand gripping the fork too tightly. Vernon didn't look up from his plate. "Dad," she said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes, "please don't misunderstand. We only updated it for the future." "The future," I repeated, my voice low. "Or my death." Her fork slipped, clinking against the plate. The sound echoed like a crack in the air. No one spoke after that. The only noise was the faint rhythm of a knife tapping porcelain, steady and cruel, like the ticking of a clock counting down to something inevitable. In that silence, I saw them differently. My daughter, the same girl I once carried on my shoulders at the county fair, now sitting across from me, her face unreadable. Vernon's calm expression, too calm, spoke of control, of distance. I wanted to ask why, but I already knew the answer. Money, fear, entitlement. It's the same poison that breaks every family drama, the one you think could never happen in your own home until it does. As the night deepened, I realized something I wish I hadn't. The wounds that hurt most aren't the ones you see coming. People talk about betrayal as if it arrives with a warning, a storm, a raised voice, but sometimes it comes quietly, disguised as love, carrying your last name. They say deceit is the language of strangers, but what do you call it when it speaks in your daughter's voice? The rain began before dawn, tapping against the old glass panes like an impatient visitor. By the time I made it to the workshop, the floor was already damp around the edges. The smell of sawdust mixed with machine oil filled the air, comforting, familiar. It was the one place left that didn't lie to me. I locked the door behind me and sat on the worn stool near the workbench. The radio in the corner still worked, barely. A preacher's voice drifted through the static, talking about forgiveness and redemption. I turned it off before he could finish the sentence. Maria's photo hung on the far wall. She was smiling. That same soft smile she wore when she'd hand me lemonade after a long day on the job. I used to think that smile could hold a house together. Maybe I was wrong. When she died, I murmured to no one. I promised I'd keep this family whole. I gave everything to that promise. Money, time, my own pride, and somehow I ended up being the spare part that no longer fit. I traced the edge of the workbench, each groove and splinter like a small memory. The sound of the rain deepened, steady and relentless, almost mocking. Funny thing about being betrayed? It doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, like rust. You don't notice until you realize the metal underneath is gone. At some point, I laughed. It wasn't a good laugh. It was the kind that starts like a cough and ends like a sigh. Maybe this is what every family drama comes down to. Someone gives too much, someone takes too long, and by the time anyone notices, the love has turned into a ledger no one wants to balance. I stared at Maria's picture again and whispered, was I wrong to love too much? Or just wrong to believe everyone knew what love meant? Outside, thunder rolled across Glenridge, shaking the window frames. Inside, silence pressed closer, heavy as guilt. Sometimes silence isn't peace. Sometimes it's a cry that no one's listening to. And that night, the house didn't echo back. The storm had passed, but the air still smelled of wet earth and unfinished grief. I was cleaning out Maria's old drawer, the one she kept locked even from me. Inside were faded receipts, a silver locket I'd given her in '92, and tucked beneath them, a folded piece of paper with the letterhead Riverside Clinic. I'd never heard of the place. My name wasn't on it, but hers was, written in the neat, careful handwriting of someone who thought details could save them. The date, 3 months before her death. The diagnosis, blank. Only a signature I couldn't make out. I dialed the number at the bottom. Static, then a click, then nothing. Tried again. The same. Finally, a voice recording. This number is no longer in service. It sounded like a dead end, but my gut told me otherwise. The dead can't call back, I muttered, but I still can. By afternoon, I found myself standing in front of Evelyn Ross's office. She'd been Maria's lawyer back in the day, sharp as glass and twice as cold. The woman didn't age so much as she calcified. She looked up from her desk when I walked in, eyes narrowing slightly. Michael, it's been a while. Found something in Maria's things, I said, sliding the paper across. You ever seen this? Evelyn adjusted her glasses, scanned it once, then again slower. Her expression changed. Barely, but enough. Where did you get this? Her drawer, she exhaled. Then I'll be straight with you. This isn't real. The seal's printed, not embossed. Whoever made this wanted it to look legitimate. I frowned. So, fake medical records? Yes. And not just fake, strategic. Someone wanted to make her illness official on paper. Why? She leaned back, steepling her fingers. Because if you're legally connected to someone who died of illness, and then you start showing signs of the same condition. She paused. They can write you off the same way. Quietly. Neatly. I felt my pulse in my ears. You think someone wants me gone? Evelyn didn't answer right away. She looked out the window, where the rain had begun again in thin, steady lines. Michael, think about it. Who gains the most if you're erased? Her words hit like a hammer. The silence between us was heavy, metallic. I thought of the altered contracts, the hidden papers, the way Fern wouldn't meet my eyes at dinner. My throat went dry. You mean my own? Evelyn's look stopped me. Don't say it, not yet. Outside, thunder rolled across Glenridge again, soft but insistent, as if the sky itself wanted to finish the thought I couldn't. That night, I sat in the car outside my home, engine off, watching the lights flicker behind the curtains. For the first time, I didn't feel safe walking inside. I finally understood. Sometimes the one who kills you doesn't need a knife, just a heart cold enough to make it look like mercy. Evelyn called me the next morning. Her voice was steadier than mine, though I could sense the tremor she tried to hide. Michael, she said, I've been digging. That was how she always began bad news. plain, measured, and merciless. By noon, we sat across from each other in her office again, folders spread like open wounds across the table. She pushed one toward me. "These documents," she said, "weren't forged by amateurs. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing." I flipped through the papers, insurance forms, email printouts, digital timestamps. My own name printed over and over beside Maria's, but not in my handwriting. "Where did these come from?" She hesitated. "The trail leads to an email account registered to Vernon. The name hung there between us, like a smell that wouldn't leave the room." "Vernon?" I whispered. "My son?" She nodded. "It gets worse. The address he used traces back to a shell company called Greenvale Investments. It doesn't exist, not really. Just a mailbox, a domain, and a few offshore transfers." I stared at the screen as Evelyn turned her laptop toward me. My hands were cold. "How much?" She looked at me, then back to the file. $1.8 million. I laughed, a dry, broken sound that barely counted as laughter. "That's what my life's worth now, Michael," she said quietly. "You need to be careful. These people, they're not people," I interrupted. "They're my children." Silence. Outside, a delivery truck rumbled past, shaking the glass panes. The room smelled faintly of coffee and paper, yet everything felt unreal. Evelyn leaned forward. "You have to decide what comes next. Do you want me to go to the authorities?" I looked at her. "Would you?" She sighed. "If it were me, yes. But this isn't just about the law anymore. It's about family." The word landed like a curse. Family. The thing I spent my life building, the thing they turned into a business plan. For a moment, neither of us spoke. I could feel the weight of it pressing against my chest. The truth, the loss, the slow corrosion of trust. Every memory of Fern's laughter, Vernon's boyish grin, Maria's gentle hand, each one now felt like part of some elaborate performance. "Evelyn," I said at last, "I've already faced death once. Now I just need to face the truth." She closed the file, her eyes softening. "Then be ready, because this," she gestured toward the papers, "isn't just fraud. It's deceit wearing your family's face." As I left her office, dusk was falling over Glen Ridge. The streetlights flickered on, one by one, bathing the sidewalks in gold. I thought of Maria, of her promise that love would always bring us back together. Maybe she was right, but not like this. Driving home, I caught my reflection in the mirror. I looked alive, but barely. And I realized I didn't know what hurt more, being betrayed or having to prove I was still here to the people who wanted me gone. I hadn't cooked in months, but that night the kitchen smelled like forgiveness, or at least something that pretended to be. Rosemary chicken, mashed potatoes, Maria's old cornbread recipe, the kind of meal that once glued our family together before silence did the job instead. Fern arrived first, still wearing her work blazer, pretending this wasn't strange. Vernon followed, tie loosened, confidence unshaken. "What's the occasion, Dad?" he asked, glancing around the dining room as if searching for hidden ghosts. "Just dinner," I said, smiling. "Maybe the last one we have together." He chuckled. "That's supposed to be a threat? Call it a toast to honesty." We sat. The table was set neatly. 3 plates, 3 glasses, one small camera hidden behind the vase of tulips. I'd spent all afternoon setting it up, testing the angle until it caught every expression. My heart thumped like an old machine that refused to quit. For a while, we talked about nothing. Weather, sports, the neighbor's new dog. The air felt thick with all the words we weren't saying. Then I put down my fork. "So," I said softly, "when were you two planning to collect the money?" The sound of silverware stopped. Fern blinked. "What money?" Vernon smirked. "Dad, don't start. You've got no proof." "Oh, but I do." I turned the laptop toward them. One click, and the room lit up with ugly truth. Emails, signatures, wire transfers, Even the sound of Vernon's voice on a recorded call, calm and businesslike, as he discussed how to finalize the death paperwork. For a long moment, no one moved. Fern's eyes welled up, but her tears felt rehearsed. Vernon looked away, jaw tightening, as if the walls might collapse under the weight of their own lies. "You recorded us?" he finally asked. I smiled, small and tired. "You recorded me first, didn't you? You just used a lawyer's pen instead of a camera." He stood up, fists clenched, but there was nowhere to go. The truth was louder than anger. Fern whispered, "Dad, you don't understand." "I understand enough," I said. "You wanted a future without me. Congratulations, you got it." No one spoke after that, just the sound of the clock ticking and the faint scrape of my knife as I drove it into the table. Clack. The echo filled the room. I looked at them both, two strangers wearing the faces of my children. Maybe that was the cruelest part of this family drama. Not the lies themselves, but realizing love can rot quietly while you're busy watering it. When the meal ended, Fern left first. Vernon followed, slamming the door like punctuation. I stayed behind, watching the empty chairs across from me. There are moments when truth doesn't need to shout. It just waits, then appears exactly when it should. The morning they came for Vernon, the sun was mercilessly bright. It poured through the blinds like a truth that refused to stay hidden. Blue lights flashed outside the window, reflecting off the kitchen tiles where I'd once taught him how to measure twice, cut once. I watched through the curtain, silent, as two officers led him away. His head was bowed, but not from shame, just exhaustion. Fern stood on the porch, her hands trembling. She didn't speak, and neither did I. The police car rolled away, leaving behind only the faint echo of sirens, like a warning or maybe an ending. Days passed. Reporters called, neighbors whispered, and the town of Glen Ridge suddenly had something new to gossip about. But I didn't press charges. The law could take care of what was broken on paper. My part was what couldn't be written down. Instead, I wrote a letter. Simple words, nothing fancy. The kind Maria used to call honest English. "My dear Fern, sometimes to save a person, you have to let them lose everything first. Not because they deserve the pain, but because they won't see the truth until the noise is gone. Love, Dad." She came to see me 3 days later. Her eyes were swollen, her voice small, the way it was when she was 10, and confessed she'd broken the neighbor's window. "Dad," she said, crying, "do you still forgive me?" I took her hands, felt how cold they were. "No, Fern," I said softly. "This isn't forgiveness. It's a chance. What you do with it, that's on you now." She nodded, and for the first time in years, I saw the little girl who once used to draw our family in crayon, always with too much yellow, always smiling. That night, I sat alone on the porch. The wind carried the faint scent of pine and rain. Somewhere down the street, a child laughed. I thought of Maria, of promises made and broken, and how life, in its cruel symmetry, often gives back what it takes, just not in the same shape. There are loves you can't hold on to, only understand once they've shattered. And sometimes that understanding is enough to start over. Spring came late to Glen Ridge that year. The snow melted in slow, thoughtful patches, revealing the soft green beneath, like a promise whispered after too many storms. I hadn't seen Fern in weeks, but I heard she'd started volunteering at a shelter. Vernon was still facing his sentence, though Evelyn told me he'd finally written a letter of apology. I hadn't opened it yet. Some truths need to rest a while before you can look them in the eye. On a quiet Saturday morning, I walked to Glen Ridge Park, carrying a small wooden box I'd made myself. Inside were the first scholarship papers for Maria's Light, a fund for orphaned students who'd lost their way but not their will. The sunlight flickered across the lake, and for a moment I could almost hear Maria's laughter in the wind, calm and forgiving. Standing there, I thought about everything that had unraveled. The lies, the signatures, the silence. How fragile the line between love and possession can be. And yet, even in that tangle of deceit, something tender had survived. Something worth keeping. I ran my hand along the old park bench, the same one where Maria and I once shared coffee before work. She used to say, "We don't get to choose who hurts us, but we do choose what grows from it." Back then, I never understood. Now, I think she meant that pain, like wood, can be reshaped if you're patient enough. Fern arrived quietly, holding 2 cups of coffee. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. We just sat there, side by side, watching the lake ripple. In the stillness, I realized this wasn't a story of betrayal after all. It was a story of rebuilding, of how broken families sometimes learn to bend instead of snap. The camera pulls back slowly. The sound of birds fills the air. A framed photo of Maria sways gently in the morning light, catching one last glimmer of sun before the breeze settles. Perhaps mercy is the highest form of justice we ever give each other. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel, like it, and share it so others can watch too. Thank you for watching. May you and your family stay safe, kind, and full of light. And don't miss our next story. It might just remind you how far forgiveness can go.